Erin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I am so thrilled to have you for multiple reasons. First of all, you were a part of our winter magazine, and being a hyper realistic artist gets me so excited because you're really actually the first artist I've ever interviewed. So I want to pick the brain of
Mm,
an artist.
I'm honored.
Yeah, and also you're a mama for like
Hmm.
myself. And I found you, I think maybe I don't know how we actually found each other on the internet, but as soon as I met you, I was like, oh,
We vibed.
yeah, we vibed. And I also really appreciate a woman expressing art out into the world. It's not how I can do it. I wish I could take a paintbrush and paint
Mm,
something the way you paint, but I have such a deep appreciation for what that means and the expression of you. So welcome, and I can't wait
thank
to dig
you.
in.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, it's so good. How did you get to this point of, was it the avocado or the toast?
Oh, that's a good question. It was the toast that came first, but they were very, very close
Hmm.
together. Um, but the toast was a breakout hit. I think it was the first weird, big thing I painted when
Hmm.
my career wasn't super established. And I was like, I want to paint something edgy that doesn't get a lot of attention. And it shouldn't be sourdough or like some artisanal bread. I want it to be like like run of the mill
Hmm.
bagged bread. I think it was Dempster's. I just was like, this needs to be relatable toast.
Hmm.
And I really like poured my energy into it, painting all night, and it took off.
It did. It did. So this is really the story of having this idea and painting it overnight. Like it took overnight, or was it longer?
No, it was longer. It was a couple weeks, and
Okay.
then it takes time too for people to catch up.
Right.
That's always how it goes, and every entrepreneur knows you don't do something. I mean, it starts when you do it,
Hmm.
and then it's silent. And
Right.
then you're like, oh no, people don't get it. It always takes time. I had it
Mm.
in a couple art shows, and
Mm.
it was a slow burn. Like, no pun intended. It was a slow burn. Um, it definitely wasn't an overnight thing, but I think having it in a couple shows and making prints of it,
Mm.
people started identifying with it. It was so interesting for me, and they were like, "Oh, this is me." Like people really personified the toast and
Mm.
saw themselves in it. It was like a mirror for imperfection, but perfection, like perfect imperfection.
Mm.
It really got people through that lens, I think, and it seems quick now to reflect, but I think it did take some time.
Yeah. We're okay. So let's even go back in time. How
Yeah,
did this all evolve? Like, were you always doing art?
I was always doing art.
Mm.
So as a kid, I was always doing art. And this exact style of painting and drawing ran in my family.
Okay.
So my parents were always very, very encouraging, which I was so lucky, and
So
not
lucky.
everybody
Hmm.
has that. And not only encouraging, but my mom she has the same skill.
Mm.
So she was able to teach me, like, here's how you shade, and here are the right sort of, pencils or like watercolors. And then I went to school and I continued to learn.
Mm.
Um, so it was a mix, but it was definitely in my blood and I was always drawn to it. And my kids are the same, which is,
Really?
it's wild.
All of them?
All of them, like,
Wow.
the skill doesn't matter and they all have the skill. It's so interesting,
Mm.
but not just the skill, but there's something so like regulating, and not just regulating, but like it takes them to a higher place.
Hmm.
You can see it.
Hmm.
It's so interesting. Like
Yeah.
it just takes them somewhere else. Whenever we go to a restaurant, they're like, do they have, paper, like any kind of paper, and
Start
they're in
creating.
the zone.
Mm,
Yeah.
you know what that reminds me of? Have you ever watched the movie Soul, the
Yes.
cartoon,
Yeah.
and where he goes into the zone?
Yes, exactly.
I just think that's like, if people could experience that once in their life or
Yeah.
multiple times in their life, like what an amazing thing to know that you have a talent, you have a skill, you have a
Mm,
passion and a love for something, and you put your whole self into it, that you literally like almost have an outer body experience.
yeah.
I remember just because music would be my more artistic talent. And so I really resonated with that. And when you say that, it's like, this is what it is to create
Yeah.
and to use your imagination.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I think I don't I think I don't appreciate that enough because I've always had it, and it's not something I even think of
Wow.
as being something like I think you're right. People really like search for that, and people are like, "How do you do it?" Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I just go somewhere. I know how and I can explain how,
Mm-hmm.
and that's interesting, but it's a very automatic sort of like higher thing, and you're so right, like to have that is so special. I see it in my kids and it just completely entrances and relaxes them. Yeah.
You know what? And my daughter, my oldest daughter, was going through some challenging times. And one of her friends actually said, do the paint by numbers, like just get your
Mm-hmm.
mind out of thinking
Yeah.
and go. And it was actually better than any medicinal intervention she could have had.
Yeah.
And she still to this day does that. It's again, like she's not necessarily like you that she could paint a beautiful piece of toast,
Yeah.
but just being able to sit and color and build something beautiful and
Mm-hmm.
just take herself out of her mind
Yeah.
has been so incredibly therapeutic for her.
Yes, exactly. It's like total embodiment. It's meditation in
I
another
bet.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So you always did this, and your parents, how beautiful that you had parents that just really encouraged, because again, not everybody has that either.
yeah, very lucky.
Very lucky. Yeah. And so you learn from your mom, which I imagine has you bond with your mom too. There must be a really
Mhm.
special bond there. When did you decide to do it more, quote unquote, professionally?
Um it's so funny. It didn't feel like a major decision. I
Mm,
suppose it was. I think it was a set of micro decisions that led me down that
okay.
path. Like I think I always knew that I was going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
There was some time where I thought I would be a doctor because my whole family is doctors, and I just was like, well, as many kids do, I was
Yeah.
like, I guess I'll be a doctor, which is like the furthest thing that I should ever be. I hate blood and all the things,
Yeah.
but so I think it was around grade 10 when I was like, oh, I actually have to make a decision now.
Mm,
You have to start choosing your courses. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to study fine arts. And um, the school I went to placed, there was a lot of emphasis on like being either a doctor or a lawyer,
mm,
like going into commerce or going into
mhm.
medicine. And I remember saying, I'm going into fine arts. And they were like, oh, finance, that's great. And I was like, no, fine arts. And they'd
Mhm.
be like, oh, like there was
Yeah.
always this like head tilt,
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
like it's okay. Like I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people just like don't know that program and don't know like what it is or where it will lead.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you go into those programs, you'll often find that they don't have sometimes that much advice about where it's
Mm.
going to lead because there are so many paths you can take.
True.
Um, so I think the unknown there is scary and
Mm-hmm.
legitimately
Mm-hmm.
scary. Um, but I made it work. I think I just, at that point, I was like, I'm doing this and I'm going to do it all the way.
I love that.
And my parents were a bit like, they supported me, but they were like, whatever you do, just be the best. Like, just do it all the way,
Mm.
go all in, and like, we will support you, but you got to support yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think once I made that decision, like, that was I
Mm.
really knew.
Mm. I actually think that's such a great lesson for anybody listening in.
Mm,
It's like when we're dipping our toe and dabbling with ideas and even those callings that we have, that we just never get to see what it could be because we're in
yeah,
our own way.
yeah.
Where you're like, I'm going all in. So I'm curious to know, like, what did that look like going all in? Like, does that mean you're living, breathing art? Does it mean
Hmm.
you're missing out on social things? Like, what did that look like?
Well, I didn't miss out.
Good. I like that
I
answer.
think people in fine arts have a great time.
Yes.
In fact, my experience of school was so interesting because the schools I went to, I imagine this is the case with most art schools. I don't know, but we would like have a vernissage in the day. I'm from Montreal. We would have like an art opening in the day
Wow.
where, we could like, well, in university, we were like drinking glasses of wine and like
Mm.
commenting on each other's art and, people were wearing like wacky things and going to like weird art parties, and it was just like so culturally open. Um and then I had my friends outside, and it was a good balance, and I definitely had some art ego at that time, and just like had so much fun with that because it was the first time like I had this huge portfolio, and I would like get on this subway. I was, 17. I would like get on this subway with my portfolio and my coffee, and I was like,
Yes.
I'm a
I've made
badass.
it.
Yeah. I was like, I bet you want to know what's in my
Yes.
portfolio. It was
I
really
love that.
fun, and I had fun with it, like as it should be,
Mm-hmm.
and in that way, like, I don't know, maybe it was an ego, but I took my art ego like super non-seriously,
Yeah.
as it also should be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are human.
Yeah.
Let's have fun with
Fun.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it seriously, but also took it completely non-seriously. And um, what did it look like to go all in? I was doing a lot of art.
Okay.
Art school is immersive. So art all the time. We would stay in the studios till like sometimes 3 in the morning because they just
Wow.
leave the school open. Some people sleep in the studio. Like, it really was an experience of like, you die for your art,
Right.
which I also had some fun with, just that like immersion of like these diehard people who are just so in love with their craft, and their passion and art in general.
Yeah.
And then like I always have had this entrepreneurial spirit, and I knew that like if I do this, I need to succeed at it, and there's not going to be any, you know, not that there won't be any doubt, but there's no other path for me, so I've got to really do this. So on the side, my mom would drive me around to galleries, and I would go drop off copies of my portfolio with my resume to like hundreds of like all the galleries.
Good for you.
I had like a scrunchie. I was a teenager, and I got, laughed off a lot, but some places accepted me, and you don't need to be in 100 galleries. So getting into one was like the thrill of my life.
Oh, okay, but there's something I want to pick your brain on because here you are, like 17, 18 years old doing this, and maybe like even a little bit older. And for us, even in our age and our maturity, we hear no's and we take it so personally. I see it happen all the time. It's actually probably my biggest heartbreak
Yeah.
in what I do is watching women give up on their dream because things aren't going the way they expected things to go.
Yeah.
So how did you, like, was it your parents encouraging you, or was it just that belief in yourself that had you keep going, keep going, keep going?
All of it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think back because I'm sure it was heartbreaking the first couple times. It's heartbreaking now. I think the key is not making it not be heartbreaking. It's just getting really comfortable with discomfort.
Ooh.
There's no getting rid of discomfort. Like, we are humans. So I get caught in this trap like everyone else, but I think at a very early age, it just taught me to become very resilient with discomfort. And like so I wrote about this in my book, but it really has carried me through my life, that I had a professor very early on that said, to make one good masterpiece, you have to make 100 bad ones.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it was so uplifting because it was like, oh, you make something and it's not really what you thought, and you do it again, it's not what you thought. Great. You're closer now to your masterpiece. Like, those are all necessary steps, and now you're closer than ever. So I think with the galleries, I approached it the exact same. Like, I'm going to go to literally 100 galleries, and anyone who knows me, like, I really do it.
Yeah.
And I'll get rejected 99 times, and then I'll get into one, and I only want to be in one. So like 99 rejections is the plan. It's part of my plan.
Oh,
It works.
it works. It reminds me of when I was starting my business. I remember playing a game where I would go to 100 no's. But every time I hit 10 no's, I would reward myself because I wanted to pay more attention to mastering my craft getting really good at marketing myself, pitching myself,
Yeah.
who I was. And so the no's were just moving me forward. And when I
Yeah.
would have 10, I would be like, okay, I'm going for pedicure. Or
Yeah.
once I reach 10, I'm going on a date night. Like I would have this reward. And what ended up happening was you get those yeses sprinkled and peppered in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like it was reverse psychology, almost like, oh, now I got to do another ask today for someone
Yeah.
because someone said yes. And it really did, I believe, what made me fall in love with selling because I wasn't attached to the yes or the no. I
Yeah.
was simply doing what was required to generate success.
Yes, exactly. I love that.
Huh.
Because then the yes and the no becomes almost neutral and you
Yes.
become so focused on what you're doing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just nailed it. It's neutral. I think that's the best way I've ever had someone say that. It's
Mm.
you're neutral to the response and the outcome. You're responsible for doing the things to move your dream forward, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish more people would think that way.
I mean, I don't think that way all the time,
No.
but this is when I'm in my best self,
Mm-hmm.
who's always in there.
Yes.
This is what I'm capable of thinking. And like rejection stings for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I do think though, looking back, like some of the rejections that, felt bad in the moment, looking back, I'm like, oh, imagine I would have accepted that.
Yeah.
Like it always works out in the exact right way. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the rejections sometimes help center you back on your path.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just want something and you're poised to kind of lunge at it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the universe is like, oh, no,
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And I do think there's a chiseling. And so, like, we have these big dreams and these big aspirations, and there's almost this chiseling that's required to grow us into the woman that can hold
mhm.
that level of success. Because sometimes we see the success and it looks so good
Yeah.
and so fun. But there's this other side of that type of success and
Mm.
holding that and expectations. And I'm sure people that come in and make a criticism around your art, like all of a sudden people have, a voice that they feel like they need to project all the time. And how are you going to hold that part of the
Oh, yeah.
success, right?
100%. And how are you going to hold the joy too? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on that now because I can see like all of this to me is a capacity
Mm-hmm.
thing and an energy thing. And it's like, well, sometimes the joy and the things that we want feel overwhelming
Yeah.
too. And then you limit yourself without
Mm-hmm.
realizing. So, I mean, it's really an inside job.
Yeah. I was surprised by that. Were you surprised by that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something I'm learning a lot now.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, there have been phases. Like, I think, when I was a teenager, I was just so hungry, but everything is open,
Mm-hmm.
and like everything's kind of beautifully dramatic, but abstract because it's so far away, as
Mm-hmm.
it should be, and that, creates something that like you can only have when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
Then when you're in your 20s, you're like working so hard at school, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
it is just like, just keep working,
Mm-hmm.
like just this is a hard time and like you're
Yeah.
you're doing it right. It's
Mm-hmm.
confusing and dramatic and just keep going. I think then, then into my 30s, I had my kids in my late 20s, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're also in your 20s like, what's my life gonna look
Yes.
like, and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
And then your life, my life started to take shape, and my 30s were like, okay, I kind of am doing the things like I'm an artist,
Mm-hmm.
I have my family, like things are starting to take shape. I've got to keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a sort of survival mode in like
Mm-hmm.
making things work and balancing things,
Yeah.
because oh my god, now I have this career and a family.
Yes.
And the survival is so intoxicating because I don't know, with like kids, just to get out the door is intoxicating
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
And you're like, wow, I did it, I'm doing it. There was this like intoxicating hustle
Mm-hmm.
that was like totally necessary and part of the journey.
Yes.
I think now, as I approach the end of my 30s, I'm going into this zone of like, do I have capacity for peace and non-hustle, because I think that's where things like super expand and up level in a way that I don't know, because I'm not really there, but I feel like there's an up level coming in the zone of like peace and expansion that I feel very excited. That's sort of what the article was
Yeah, I was just
about.
going to say the article was so exceptional.
Thank you.
And I obviously not being an artist, but my expression is through fashion and I can visualize. I have an art director where I can say, here's what I'm seeing. And thank God she can read my mind and make it happen.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely someone who appreciates beauty and art of all forms. And so for me, when I'm reading your article, I really resonated with this ability to keep evolving and blazing new trails and doing things differently in your own unique essence versus trying to fit now into what success looks like and modeling what other successful people are doing. And there's a bit of a mind bend with that because again, there's expectations that start getting projected onto you.
Yeah.
There is more to hold, more people, more opinions, and yet you're still this creative. So I really resonated with what you were saying of how do we continue to evolve and allow ourselves to be like squiggle outside of the lines
Yeah.
when people have sort of decided this is what our success looks like.
Yes. Yeah, it's fascinating. And I think it's so exciting because I think when you're in that hustle mindset, you have maybe a goal in mind and you're like building toward it. And everyone's like, oh, well, that would be you should only have this problem to have too many paintings to
Right.
paint. And you're like, well, if I could just get there, everything will be, I won't care what my problems are. When you realize your dreams, which God willing, we all do,
Right.
then what? Like things are not linear in this way where we're just climbing a ladder. Like this is not how it works, and that's why I say it's an inside job. Like you can get all the things and all the validation. It feels great.
Yes.
It does. But it's finite, and like I'm young still. I have a whole career, and I have so much like vitality to give, and I have so much creative energy. Once you've like made it, you realize like there is no making it. This isn't what it's about. It's so interesting it depends who I talk to, because some people are like, I don't get it. Like you have a good business. Just like I know you want to be creative, but like just maybe just like run your business and like be successful and don't ask for too much. Why should we not ask for it all? Like,
Amen.
you know?
So true.
Yeah.
So true. I actually was just thinking about this, how so it makes people so uncomfortable when we continue to stretch ourselves because I've even been met with like, when's enough?
Right.
Like as though there's
Yeah.
some sort of greed
Yeah.
or selfishness in what I'm doing. And it's like, what does that even mean? So I should be complacent. But what I do feel is happening on the back end is I'm stretching them to think outside of their boxes and it's making them uncomfortable because maybe they've kind of sat into
Bingo.
the seat of this is what I thought success was supposed to be like.
Yep.
And by watching somebody continue to stretch, it stretches them into like, wait, could there be more? And that's very uncomfortable if you've never considered that for yourself.
What did they say? It's accusations are really confessions.
Yes, true.
But we've all been there, right? Like I think, it makes sense. It is an artist's job to make people uncomfortable, in my opinion. Like challenge somebody to sit in discomfort, not in horrible discomfort,
Right.
hopefully, but sometimes to challenge them and hold up a mirror for them, and absolutely, like it can be when is enough, but your truth, and you know what you're doing, and you've got to be accountable to yourself. There are always going to be people who misinterpret what you're doing, and part of the inside job is like being okay with that so hard.
Right.
But it can look the same, but it feels different, and the energy is different. And I think the energy is what goes out through the work, what goes out through your presence. So I think like everyone has a responsibility to know if they're coming from like, I want more because I'm climbing an arbitrary ladder. Like, are you coming from lack, or are you coming from desire? And are you coming from creativity and evolution. The energy is there and it doesn't lie.
Oh, so good. So good. Have you ever had any point in your career where you have felt pressured to produce art?
What do
I
you
guess
mean?
that's a
What do
big
you mean?
yes.
It's so interesting because I think what kind of encouraged me in the direction of the article is that, and in the direction of, well, I don't know what my direction, we'll have to all wait and see, but I think as I approach this next year and this next phase of my work, I look back, I think I really wanted to build, I wanted to build something. I think for my whole 30s, I kind of built it. I built this machine that sells my art, and I took pleasure in, honestly, all of it. I even took pleasure in the moments I hated. And I think if you are super passionate, like, you'll understand that.
Yes.
When you're so upset, but
Yes.
some part of you is like, I love this. Like I'm rocking this. Yeah, like building a team and building this like art machine, not to mention like making the art, like it just was such a labor of love. It took a lot out of me, like in a good way, because that's where I was at the time, but it was a lot of pressure, and I built a team fast. I did not know how to do that. Made a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
Learning how to be a boss at a really young age. Boundaries. At the beginning, I was like, I'm going to be a cool boss, not a regular boss.
We've all done that. Yes.
Totally. And then you're like, oh,
wait.
that's why that doesn't work. So just learning all this stuff, I think it was exhilarating, but there was a lot of pressure. My website exploded at a certain point, and then I had to produce, a lot very quickly, and you can't rush this. Like, and I won't rush this because I'm the ultimate perfectionist. So, it's not about like rushing it. It became more about just like working more, working harder, working all the time. I did love it, and I was so invested in it. You could say I was like obsessed with it, utterly obsessed with it. But I think it got to a point where I felt like, okay, I've done this now. Like, this has kind of lost its charge, and there's something else that wants to come through. I didn't build this so that I could like, frame it behind glass. It becomes a kind of taxidermy at a certain point.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it just felt a bit like, okay, now, and even as I've like automated my business, AI has been really helpful for like the back end of my, website and things like that, for the fulfillment process. Like, okay, that's been really helpful.
Yeah.
Now the machine is like a perfect machine. And guess what? Like, now my creativity wants to go somewhere else. I still want to paint, and I still want to, paint what I'm painting, but I think it just wants to get bigger in some kind of way. And I'm just like really listening in.
What are you going to give us any hints? Do you have any ideas?
I have lots of ideas.
Do you?
I'm always going to be painting in this style because it's the thing that like my soul wants to do.
Okay.
It feels like ancient and bigger than me, and I genuinely love it. Like, it really is meditative for me. So I'm still going to be painting. I love this style, and I love even like, this exact style of my work. So that will continue. I do want to go in like an inspiration direction. I wrote a book, working on getting that published, about creativity.
So good.
I'd love to like inspire other people and just make this more of a movement and less about like selling individual pieces, which I still want to do, but somehow make the whole selling process like even more either gamified or community oriented, bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I would imagine there's a lot of, and I say young artists, that doesn't necessarily mean anything to do with age, but young artists who are exploring. And earlier on in your, when you were talking about, how people kind of looked at you like, oh, I've had these conversations even with makeup artists where people are like, oh, like you're gonna do makeup,
Right.
and then they end up being Hollywood, artists and having this like incredible career, but people doubted that that could be successful.
Right.
So interesting to me. And I wonder how many people you can help who are in that position of feeling a little wobbly in their knees of like, can
Mm-hmm.
I actually build something with this? Like,
Yes,
uh,
I want to do that. I
yes.
can feel when like I have a full body. Yes, there's something
Mm-hmm.
around, like, as much as I love painting, which is its own thing, I have like some kind of equal pull toward just watching somebody light up,
Mm-hmm.
or like, you know, not giving someone permission because they need to give that to
Yes.
themselves, but like, you know, showing them and working with them so that they
Mm-hmm.
can figure out that it's okay to follow these paths. And like most people who pursue an undergraduate degree in something like end up in a totally other direction
Right.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
when you follow the thread of your joy and that thing that kind of sparks something, even when it makes no sense, that's usually where your path is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at successful people, a lot of them are in jobs that are like totally made up, you know?
It's true.
It's like they think that like there's you grow up thinking there's like 5 jobs. Like I
Yeah.
can be like a firefighter or a dentist, or
Yes.
which are great. I don't think everybody knows. Like I don't think kids know
Mm-hmm.
from a young age
No.
that like jobs generally are made up just based on needs, and you can create your own job. You
Mm-hmm.
can like work with someone to
Mm-hmm.
just convince them that, there's a need here.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally endless, and people respond to energy, and the rules are kind of just all
Mm-hmm.
made up too.
They are.
Yeah.
And it's just somebody kind of like pulling back the curtain to show them that.
Yeah.
Because I think when we are, especially creatives, and I don't know, do you think everybody's creative?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um yes.
Yeah.
I think
Hmm.
maybe this is an unpopular opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just thinking out loud. I think we are all the same.
Okay.
I think that like parts of us are kind of like office. Oh, I'm not going to pronounce this word. Skip that word. I think parts of us are kind of, muddier than others.
Mm-hmm.
I heard this. I forget where I heard it, but that like, let's say we're all a diamond and we're all the same diamond, but like some parts of us are just, clearer than
Mm-hmm.
others.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like shined this part or that part, we would all be the same.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think we all have access to creativity. I don't think anybody is like special in that regard. I think some people are just more attuned to certain parts.
Hmm.
So, like, can I sing well on some level, on some planet? I hope so. Not on this one.
Not on this one. It came through for me. I've never even contemplated this because originally I was asking that question. I'm like, well, lawyers aren't creatives and doctors aren't creatives. And then as I asked you the question, I'm like, yes, they are.
Oh, yes, they are.
Like, think of how innate a surgery is when they're like touching tiny veins with the thinnest, like, I don't even know what you
my
call that.
God.
Whatever that is, like it's just thin.
Yeah.
And a lawyer, in the way they form their sentences and their stories and their arguments, like there is creation and artistry. It's just how it kind of comes through somebody. So I hadn't even contemplated that for myself until this was a good little aha for me.
Oh, yeah. I think creativity, it's people put it in such a box, and then you become like a meme of an artist,
Right.
like creativity. And that's sort of what I try to say in my book, which is geared toward everyone. Like everyone has access to creativity. It's in like the decisions that you make, it's in how you view people. It's even just recognizing that there's more than one lens
Yeah.
through which to view somebody. And just, having the bravery or having the the creativity to like see them in another way, to see things in another way. And this exists in every industry. And like sometimes I do things uncreatively in my industry because I'm a human.
Right.
So yes, I think everybody has this.
Yeah, I did. Jess King, who's on the cover of the magazine, we were talking, and her artistic expression is dance and other things too. Like she thrifts and does all sorts of like really cool outfits. And we were talking about how like sometimes the ways in which we feel different are the things that are stifled, like those things that make people feel a little awkward. We use the
Mm.
word weird.
Yeah.
And I don't have any problem with that word. I think it can be used in a really inappropriate, awful way.
Sure.
But how can we take when someone's like, that's weird? How can we almost take that as a compliment to be like, that's my differentiator? That's my unique special quality.
Totally.
It's so much easier said than done as you gain age and years. But I remember as a kid having this polarizing idea. I loved fashion and I loved getting dressed, but at the same time, I wanted just to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
fitting in wasn't because I knew that was the right choice for me. It was just I wanted everybody to leave me alone.
Yeah.
And so it's like almost like at the very front end of our lives, that very special part of us that
Yeah.
will be our artistry is the thing we try to hide. And then we
Mm.
spend the rest of our lives pulling it forward and wanting to see what it's made of. Does that
Yeah.
make
Oh
sense?
my God, so much sense. I was like that too. Like, I just wanted to blend in
Yeah.
because I hadn't found my people. I had
Hmm.
found them, a little, but they were maybe sometimes in another class and I didn't have, I found my weirdos.
Yeah.
Um, and in that weirdness, there was such a freedom to just
Hmm.
be who we were. And I think weirdness was for us this just environment of non-judgment, like
Yeah.
perfect non-judgment. It was
Yeah.
just like do whatever comes naturally.
Hmm.
I will too. And like,
Hmm.
who am I to judge? I'm weird too.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't acceptable with the larger groups. And
Right.
I also, maybe it was the time, maybe it was my environment. I
Mm.
think that created later in life this kind of like rebellious
Yes.
celebration of
Hmm.
weirdness. And now my kids, I think my kids are so lucky. You just luck out sometimes with the crowd in the school.
Hmm.
We got very lucky, but we always, I don't know, we call our kids weirdos all the time. And I think someone called my son weird once and he was like, thank you. That's my favorite compliment. I was like,
Nice.
oh, I love you.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're confident.
Hmm.
They've got
Hmm.
a good thing going, and that's lucky. But yeah, if you didn't have that as a kid,
Hmm.
I think it is something that explore later in life. And it's funny that I think with my art, like the toast was a really weird piece, and it stood out for that reason.
Hmm.
I think I sort of built something in the end that became, I don't want to say popular, but it kind of did. It became like well known and people have it and it's the best feeling. But it's interesting that now that like I feel that feeling,
Hmm.
I'm like, well, this isn't this isn't where my weirdness lives,
Oh, good.
And
Hmm.
I think I'm always wanting to stay with that part of me and where
Hmm.
that part wants to go.
Hmm.
And it truly doesn't want to be in an environment where it fits in. Like you think that's what you want,
Yes.
but then you realize that it's just another rung on the ladder, and
Hmm.
it has nothing to do with truth or authenticity.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah,
I agree with you. And I feel like so much of it is that teaching at a young age of that performing and shape shifting
mm,
for acceptance. And what I'm hearing from you is you found your crew, like you found your belonging.
yeah,
And once you find that belonging, people who they don't even have to think like you, but just have the same values
yeah.
or excitement over art, whatever it is, you can allow yourself to be seen a little bit more because that's celebrated versus stomped upon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. And good for you for raising your kids that when someone says you're weird, they turn around and go, thanks for the compliment.
I wish I could take credit. I genuinely feel like they just came out like that.
Did they?
They're so confident and like
Mm.
we just try not to mess it up. That's our role. Like I don't think we like did anything. It's sometimes it's about doing less. That's what
Mm.
I'm learning as I age.
Yeah.
Like I think we just try and stay out of their way.
Yeah.
Honestly, like we support them where adults need
Hmm.
to,
Hmm.
but they know like kids just are so pure and there's just this sense of knowing.
Hmm.
And I think like an adult's responsibility is sometimes like just not to crush that.
Yeah. Not to interfere.
Yeah.
And we can do that. I can do that. I very much, I could be the helicopter parent.
Yeah.
I was with my first two just because I was so afraid
Well, the first.
of making a mistake. Like,
Yeah.
you're just like, I do not want to be that parent that they get older and they go to therapy because mom said, like, I just was like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
But they're going to go to therapy and talk about their parents. And
Sure.
I mean, it is what it is. We do the best we can. And I really love the idea of not interfering, of trusting them. You're enabling them to build self-trust because you're not always trying to correct or control. So what a beautiful home to be raised in where they can, have their own agency.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And it's funny what you said, because my biggest hope for them is that they do end up in therapy, because I feel like
Yes.
I love therapy.
Yes.
I think every human should get to know themselves better in a space of non-judgment. I just think that's so amazing. And like, of course we're gonna like screw them up in some way. That's our job.
I know.
I hope that they arrive in a place where they have the sort of like fluidity and confidence to always get to know themselves, so that they can always be like growing and changing also, and messing up and starting again.
So good. So good. So I have a feeling you're going to be blowing up this business into really supporting the up and coming artists. And I'm so excited for your book.
Thank you.
Is that coming out this year?
Well, I hope so. I'm waiting for the right publisher to pick it up. It's been a journey, but it kind of just wanted to come through me. I went to Italy by myself to feed myself and eat, pray, love, and just, really inspire myself from the inside out. Not there's a tangent. It will come together. Not to go see art, but just to kind of like refuel. And when I got back, everyone was like, "Oh, are you going to paint, pasta now?" It's like, no, like it's not that literal, but I got almost this directive that was like, you have to write this book about creativity. Wow. And I just like wrote it in cafes, like staying up so late, like just working all the time. And I wrote it in a couple months. And then I had a couple people read it to be like, does this sound like a real book? And they liked it. And,
Beautiful.
I found an agent who I love. And this is such a new process. And it's so humbling and exhilarating to like start in a new, sphere from nothing. And people were like, wow. Some people were like, what do you even know about this? Like, how do you know how to do this? I'm like, well, I don't know. And I don't want to go, explore it all, because I know where this is coming from and I want it to stay really, pure. I don't feel like I have to like know everything about the industry. There's something beautiful.
You can hire people for that.
Yeah. And there's something so beautiful in like just having this like naive excitement. It's irreplaceable. Like once you've been entrenched, you're in another place.
Yes.
So I'm just staying for now with the excitement of having done it. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to pick it up. I hope it becomes huge. But just the hope is very exciting, and that's creative for me.
Yeah, and the word innocence comes up. There's an innocence about that that's so sweet. So when did you go to Italy and do your Eat, Pray, Love? Because my whole soul just jumped out of my chest.
God, yes, you should do it in May.
So you just did this. 4 kids, husband.
Yep.
Was that easy?
Yes.
Good. Good.
In some ways, yes. I have really good support at home.
Good.
My husband is so supportive. We support each other's growth. Like, we're very flexible like that. I saw the trip and I just had this instinct to book it. It felt like a personal challenge. Like, don't overthink this. Just do this for yourself. You deserve it. It was like a birthday trip from me to me. And I went and kind of told Sam that I was doing this, and he was very surprised.
Was he?
He was like, Rome? Like, I was just like, sorry, what? I was just like, are you okay to like handle the kids for like a week? But I trust him at home. Like, we're so
Yes.
lucky. And the kid, it was interesting, actually. I was feeling guilty about how to tell the kids.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm just going to say it to them. Like, guys, I gave birth to 4 kids inside of, 10 years.
Yeah.
And and I've been working, and I just want to do this for myself. And he was like, don't say that. You don't have to justify this.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. He was
Good.
like, just say, I'm going because I want to,
Good for you.
which I loved. And they were really supportive too.
Amazing.
And I would FaceTime them from from my walks, and I just ate all the things. It was great, and I came back really nourished, and just I think it really broke me open. I think when you do that, you make room for that expansion and that peace, which can be uncomfortable and confronting when you haven't had it.
That's true. And I just feel like with kids, because my experience, I remove myself often. It's like how I refuel.
Yeah.
I've learned it's just I have to have my own space.
Oh, yeah.
And so I realized early on when I came to it with a lens of guilt of like, mom's going to go, it's going to be, well, they would react as though like the very thing I didn't want to have happen would happen.
Yeah.
But it was because I let it with my own guilt, my
Correct.
own emotion. Whereas when I was like, hey, I'm just going to go to Toronto for a couple of days, put myself up in a hotel and just regroup, they're like, okay. Like there was no drama, but the drama was made through me projecting the anticipated response, and that was a really great lesson. So now they're like, even today, they're just fine with me doing what I need to do. There's no attachment of like you're leaving me, or because they know when I'm home, and they also know the mom that comes back is way more grounded, steady. I have more patience.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just a better mom.
Yes. That's how life works. And I'm always trying to, even when something doesn't work, I'm like, but I put it all out there. Did you though? Like, what were you really putting out there? Like, sometimes you have to really have that honest moment.
Yes.
Yeah. I never wanted to be, and I get it wrong, like lots of times, but I try and watch for that kind of like martyr vibe. I try to just be myself.
Good.
I think like that's what allows us to connect, and I think I feel we're quite close, and I think it's really important for them to have like a human mother, and to just see, even when I'm stressed, I'm like, did you like? It's interesting, like even I can play act it away, but sometimes I'm like, did you feel my stress over there? I was really stressed before. They're like, yeah, we kind of did. So they're picking up on it regardless.
They are.
And if you could just talk about it, like, I think, to see me in all my ways, but then to have like a repair and a closeness, and like that you always show up and you always come back and you always, talk about it is, I think, like the only way. Otherwise, it's like a performance of parenthood, and any performance like has a shelf life.
It does. Yeah. And that's how we want to raise them, is to be vulnerable and express their feelings, and to apologize when, maybe they did something that they need to apologize for, and just that humanness.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I think that's wonderful. Oh, Erin, I could literally talk to you all day because we have so many things we could talk about. But I'd love to have everybody listening in go and just immerse themselves into your world, because what I hope everybody experienced, and I know that they did, was not only are you a gorgeous artist, so go buy her paintings, but you're also a thought leader. And those two things coming together is just so special. So to hear your thoughts and how wise you are, and then also be inspired through your art, is just like such a fun place to be. So where do you want them to go to explore you?
Oh my God, go on. Thank you so much. That's so, so, so nice. All of my art can be seen on my website, erinrothstein.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Erin Rothstein. Those are my 2 places. I like to keep it simple.
Me too.
My art and my life is there, and hopefully there will be a book and other avenues. So stay tuned.
Can't wait. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.